So at a time of war, the Department of Defense is removing media offices from the Pentagon. A spokesman said yesterday an area of the building known as Correspondence Corridor, which reporters have used for decades to cover the DoD, will close immediately. The move comes after a federal judge ruled on Friday that a restrictive new press policy attempting to limit journalists at the department is unconstitutional. The New York Times sued the Pentagon last year, claiming the new rules violated constitutional rights to free speech and due process. A judge agreed and ordered the DoD to restore credentials to journalists that refused to follow the new guidelines. The Pentagon is appealing that decision, and this new move, Nancy, is perceived as a way to try to, certainly break the spirit of the ruling, if nothing else, by kicking their correspondents out entirely, so they wouldn't have to, go along with what the judge had to say. So you wrote when the correspondents were initially moved out of the Pentagon. You've covered that agency for a long time. You wrote beautifully about it. Talk to us about this latest step, but why also it's so important at a time of war when the Secretary of Defense and his press briefings are full of bluster and very little actual information.
I'm so glad you asked. I'm one of the journalists who refused to sign that and was among those who left on October 15th. And the ruling was quite clear that the rules that they were proposing violated the Constitution, that they should be removed. And the Pentagon responded by saying, we're actually going to come up with different kinds of restrictions. We're going to close spaces. We're going to move reporters to an annex to the building, and obviously violating the spirit of it. And you saw from the New York Times in a statement today that they interpreted it the same way and plan to go back to court. But the relationship between this is not just about the reporters in the building, but really about war itself and the conduct of war. As you noted, the press conferences that have happened since this war started, the questions are picked by the department from journalists that they've solicited to come to the building and cover it. It's very hard to ask follow-ups. Those of us who didn't sign the agreement have to yell questions to get them. And we're not getting a very basic understanding of this war. I'll give you an example. The United States keeps saying that it's destroyed 90% of Iran's ballistic and drone capability, and yet we've seen them still aggressively targeting Israel and Gulf allies. There's no format to ask the question for why that's happening, because the space that we're in is so limited and the press conferences are so controlled. And here's the thing. The way we understand war and the way we talk about war does shape the battlefield. When administration officials don't have to answer questions, don't have to provide precise details, it translates on the battlefield, because that accountability is how we determine whether wars are going well or not, whether the expectations are being met. And so it does have real-world impacts. Now, having said all that, this Pentagon press corps has broken news since what we call the eviction in October, news that the Pentagon didn't want to get out. And I think this press corps will continue to do so. But I think the American public has a right, especially at a time of war, especially when the Pentagon is asking for another $200 billion of taxpayer money to fund it, to as much information as possible.
Amen. Final word.
Yeah, I was just going to add really quickly. Nancy brings up such an important point, and also to kind of put this in context, there's no internet in Iran. We don't have really good reporting inside of Iran. If you go in there, you're going in there with an Iranian minder. Mm-hmm. The regime is the only one that has access to the internet to get their content out and what story they want out of Iran. The Israelis have very strict military censorship rules, so we can't even see to what extent real damage is happening inside Israel and what is happening day in and day out of this war. And as Nancy just laid out, our own Pentagon now is shutting down Correspondent Corridor, and we're reporting uphill in this country. So when you look at this war in this age of information and how important it is, the three major participants in this country, in this war, these countries, all have some form of censorship taking place that is denying the people what is actually happening on the ground.
A really important point, a really important conversation.